Hello. Oh, there you go. Hey. Hey, look at that. All right. Everything's in order. Hello. Hello, hello. Hold on, just I have a thing. Can you tell how it's been a while since I streamed? Hold on. That's not what that's supposed to do. That's not what that's supposed to do. That is wrong. That's wrong. Which one is it? God damn it. It's one of these. It's one of these. Y'all gonna have to watch. Hold on, wait. It's one of these. It's one of these. Yeah, there we go. That's the one. All right, and then that. Ah, yeah, that's the one. Okay. All right. Let's try it again. Hello, hello, hello. I am back. It's been a while, but it's good to see you. Hello, hello, my bubble buddies and other darlings of the internet. It's been a while. It's been a while because I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail and been stuck in that game for hell. It's not like a bad thing though. I'm not gonna say that. It's not like a bad thing. It's more so like a I'm just falling in love with the game of Final Fantasy all over again with the new expansion. It has been amazing. I got into Final Fantasy because of the world, right? I was originally invited by an old friend of mine for like the role play aspects of the RPG part of the MMO, right? Um and I also like the gameplay too. I like hunting down monsters and fighting bosses and dungeons and doing searching for loot and stuff. Like I also think that's really fun and I enjoyed that a lot. But I've just been stuck in Dawn Trail, trying to complete the main story quests, exploring the world, unlocking all sorts of side content, and I've been doing it with friends. So like that's also been taking my attention for streaming because I just been like wanting to just enjoy a game, right? You know, I know some streamers and VTubers do take breaks and stuff like that to enjoy a game's release before they come back to streaming, right? I plan to do that once I have my fill of Dawn Trail. Once I've gotten through like the main story content and then like a couple of the extremes and raids with my friends. Maybe do some dungeon grinding. And then I'll get back into like the Final Fantasy progression we've been doing. We just got into Stormblood, so it's gonna be a while before we get to Dawn Trail because we got to go through Shadowbringer, Endwalker, and then Dawn Trail. So that's 3 expansions we have to get through to see like all the new updates. But at least with Dawn Trail dropping, it updated all the graphics in the game. So all the previous expansion got a huge graphic boost, and they are spectacular. I've been playing this game since Stormblood dropped, and that was like in 2017. So I've been playing this game for a good amount of years. Holy hell. How many years is that? 13? I know how to do math. That's 7. Still, but the game been out for about like 10 plus years. But like I've been playing it for 7. So let's yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah. Still, I've been playing this game for a long time. I have seen the graphics for a good while since Stormblood was first released as like the 3rd expansion. But when I tell you that Dawn Trail has increased the fucking beauty of this game, like I thought the game looked good before, but now the graphics are like num num num. I eat it all up. It's like out of this fucking world. It's absolutely fucking spectacular. Like what the graphics look like now, right? Um. So yesterday was my birthday. Hold on, sorry. I'm looking at the custom, like, fucking custom animations that I have. I'm looking at the custom animations that I have. I'm trying to bring back the stretch one. So when I get like the stretch, oh my god, this shock one is kind of cool. Being shocked, and then like you get the surprise face. That's kind of cool. I wonder if I keep the lip sync. Oh, good lord. How about with this? That, yeah. That, wow. 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 I have to implement this one shot. Okay. So like, let's just, I can't believe you said that. Oh my god. And then the double wave. Hello, hello, hello. And then, I can't believe you said that shit. Sorry. That's so fucking funny. All right, okay. I was doing this because I wanted the stretch one back. This is also just us hanging out for like a little bit. I definitely don't have like a super amount of energy. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Cause I've been playing fucking Dog Trail for days on end, staying up late as fucking night. Alright, here's the stretch one. Alright, okay. This one's the stretch one. What face should we make when we stretch? Maybe half lit eyes. How y'all feeling? Ah, wow. Stretch. Stretch, 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 stretch. Wow. Wow. Maybe half lit eyes. Yeah, that should work. I think that's cool. Oh, I forgot to give it a name. Okay. Wake up. No, I'm tired. I'm tired, Hawks. I'm tired. Alright, okay. Alright, so now I have my stretch animation. So like if you want me to stretch, stretch and then reset. No, Hawks, I'm tired. I've been staying up way too late these days. You should know, asshat. Oh, I stayed up till like 3 a.m. yesterday. I told myself I was gonna go to bed early because I wanted to stream today. So I had like enough energy to hang out and just play catch up with the bubble buddies. But like I lied like a motherfucker. I lie like a bitch. My ass did not go to bed early. I went to bed like at 3. Shut up. I wish I had a clown sound to play. That'd probably be funny. Play some carnival music. But yeah. I went to bed like at 3:30, and then I stayed awake for 2 hours after that. So I ended up falling asleep until like 5 a.m. Cause like I don't go to sleep immediately when I hit the bed. I wish I did, but like that's just not fucking possible for me. That's just something I just do not do. So like I went to lay down, lay there for a little bit, ended up doom scrolling on TikTok until I finally felt sleepy enough to be like z z z z z z z z z z z z. Yeah. I've been tired these days. Like I said, I've been playing Dawn Trail nonstop. for the past week. Since it dropped early access June 28th, I've been playing it nonstop since then. I even played it yesterday for my birthday because I'm behind on my friends when it comes to MSQ. Yeah, yeah, I know. It's hard though. Like you be sleepy, right? You be like, wow, I'm tired. Time for me to get off my computer for the night, right? And you do all your usual before bedtime stuff, like you shut down your computer, you clean off your desk, you go wash your face, go brush your teeth, change your pajamas, and go lay down. Oh, hi, Magic. Thank you for the belated birthday wishes. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Uh, but yeah, like you do like your whole bedtime routine at 3 a.m. and then you lay down and you're just like, damn, where all that sleepiness go, right? Like it's like, how do I describe it? It's like your mind is like, it's weird because like my body will be tired and then my mind will also be tired. But like when I try to close my eyes, I'm just laying there with my eyes closed. Like I don't fall asleep immediately. I have to like look at something or like listen to something to like slowly lull my ass to sleep. So like I listen to a lot of sleep audios too. Like sleep audios and like I watch speed paints of people. Also, I just noticed how fucking big my damn chat is. And break it down a little bit because it's cutting off like the actual chat up here. Break it down just a little bit. That's fine. But yeah, I like to listen to sleep audios and stuff. And I also watch like those nail tech videos where like they're putting on like extensions, like people who do their own nails. I watch those type of videos that tends to like, they just get the sleepiness going. I don't know what it is about them, but like they're just so relaxing and so monodic. I think that's the term they use for it. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but they're just so nice to watch and look at. And they usually have like all the ASMR of the people just doing their nails, or like they have like soft music in the background. And so like I will watch it and I'll just get sleepy. It's the same thing with people doing speed paints, but it's the speed paints where like they're painting in real life using like acrylic or alcohol markers or using like gouache and watercolor paints, and then do like a painting. Those usually like very ASMR. Yeah, like the Bob Ross stuff, but it's not Bob Ross. It's just people painting with soft music in the background. And I'll be like, wow, that's so pretty. And I just fall asleep. Like, I have to watch videos like that or listen to shit like that to just help push that sleepiness forward, you know? And it's insane. It's insane. But like, I like it though. I like sleep audios though. When I do my meditations and stuff, I listen to audios to help me get into the zone. Plus, it also helps like block out distractions. So like, I do like meditations as part of uh my paganism ritual practices. I put on my earbuds, the noise canceling kind, and put on like uh some type of music. I can't like, just like that deep like crystal bowl music, or like that deep like kind of music, just to block out like all the noises from the outside and so I can meditate correctly. Cause like if I'm hearing something else, I'm gonna get distracted. I don't know. I'm just so easily distracted, dude. Like I would sit there and look at one thing and I'll be doing like one thing. But then if I like turn my head for like a moment and see something else, I'll be like, oh, shiny, what's this? What's this? What's that? And then I'll go back to the thing I was doing previously, but like, damn, what the fuck was I doing before? I'm like, what? There's something on my screen. I'm trying to, let me wipe it out. I was also a little late to stream. I'm always fucking late to stream. Like, I'm such a fucking mess, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie to you, gang. I'm such a mess. But, I was a little late to stream. Because my microphone, stand broke. I want to say broke. It's still fixable. It's fixed. It didn't break. I'm just being dramatic. But, I have one of those mic arms that, like, have like the base thing that screws onto your table. So that came unscrewed while I was trying to adjust my mic because I gotta have my mic in front of me, right? But off my table. I want it in front of me, but I also don't want it to be blocking my face for my, tracking. Because like, if there's one thing that you really draw in a crowd is the tracking of your VTuber. And I'm very fortunate that mine is expressive enough to showcase at least some expression of mine. Like stuff like that. So I want a very clear, like, visual of my face. Plus I have a ring light on to help with the lighting, stuff like that. So I have to adjust my mic in a way to where it's in front of my mouth while I'm speaking, but not covering my face. So that's that. So I think I achieved that, but the mic thing came on screws, so I had to quickly MacGyver this shit to rescrew it back onto my table without knocking anything over because I'm so fucking accident prone, dude. So accident prone. If I'm not careful, I would knock some shit over. I just be doing shit. And what out of you? I just be doing shit. So I had to be careful so I didn't knock over my monitor, knock over my desk, knock over my coffee mug, which I probably need more coffee in. Cause I drink and live coffee because I'm an eternally sleepy bitch. I'm eternally sleepy. Thinking about coffee makes me want to get more coffee, but I already started streaming, sat down. I'm lazy. I don't know if I want to get up and go get coffee. But then again, also, I could make coffee, but today's my sister made chicken Caesar pasta salad. Yeah, chicken Caesar pasta salad. So like it's a chicken Caesar salad, but you add pasta to it, and it looks fucking scrumdiddlyumptious, and I want some of it. But I just sat down and started streaming, and I forgot to go get me a plate, and I'm lazy. I don't want to get up right now. Today is just a fucking day. It is a Tuesday. I am very happy that it's not as hot as it was before. So I'm not like boiling in my room because like if there's one thing that I have learned about having a gamer PC is that it makes your room hot while the PC stays cold because like it's blowing all the hot air out, right? And I've been worried that because I don't have like a good cooling thing in my room, like that is gonna make my PC too hot. So I double check and make sure the temperatures are okay, but they're in the normal range for what my PC is, right? So like that's a blessing. But like I still think about it and I look at it, I'm like, wow, I built that. I had so many fears about building my own PC, even though how much I wanted one for like the longest time. Like I always been a console player. Like I didn't get to have many video games when growing up, so I'm probably not super duper like knowledgeable about all the type of video games that's out there. Like I have like vague inklings of like big titles and AAA's titles because of like what my friends tell me or what I read on the internet and stuff. But I didn't get into video games until I got like my first DS when I was a child. And even before then, I did play a little bit of video games because like uh my cousins used to have like a PlayStation 1. I think the PlayStation 1 is the green one. Or it was the PlayStation 2, it was one of those. And we used to play games on there. Uh and I guess these will count as those video games, but do you guys remember those like little systems? Like there wasn't exactly like a name brand console like an Xbox or like a PlayStation, but there was like little consoles based on different brands, and like they came with like the 3-prong setup where you plug it into your TV when your TV still had 3 prongs. So like one for video, one for audio, and then one for like I forgot what the other one was, but they were usually like red, yellow, and white. I think. If you remember those, I had one of those. I had a couple of those actually. One of the, wow, whistled. Wow. You probably can't hear that because my mic settings have it to where it cuts off really high pitched sounds. But like, a whistle when I spoke. Anyways, see, this is what the fuck I'm talking about. I do something, I get fucking sidetracked. Anyways, I had one of the Bratz ones, like those Bratz video games that you just get to plug in into your TV. I also had one of those, I had one called like My Dress. It was a dress up game as well that you plug into like your TV. It was fun. It was fun. Those are like my introductions to video games, and then from there I started to ask for like video game stuff. But like, your girl didn't grow up fortunate. My parents did the best that they was able to achieve. Right? Like that, they did what they could. But when I was able to get it, I had my first DS, and I had the Nintendo Dogs. That was the game I had. I had that, and I think the Monster High game. Maybe that was much later, but I got the DS, right? And that's what I got. But it broke because of sibling jealousy. My baby sister broke it because she didn't get a DS because she didn't ask for a DS that year. But me and my two cousins all asked for a DS that year, and we all got one. But her, she asked for something else, but saw that she was being left out. She broke mine, so that was that. And then I didn't have a console for a while. I had a niece who had a DS, and I would ask her, could I play with hers? And then from there, as I grew older, I eventually bought my own Nintendo DS. I bought a Nintendo 3DS. And then I eventually bought myself my first PlayStation 4 once I was old enough. I was like in my early 20s when I bought that. And I still have my PS4 to this day. Like, I still have my baby girl, my pink skin cloud PS4 with the matching white controller with the pink skin on it. Like, I have her. I just don't play on her because my TV broke. But I probably could just hook up to one of my monitors. But like, that would require me to unhook one of my monitors to put in the HDMI cord, and I'm not gonna do that shit. Oh shit, I forgot to turn off my phone. Not turn off my phone, but at least mute it. But my PS4 was my like big introduction to like games. So like, I play a lot of games on there. I play Final Fantasy. I play Little's Big Planet. I play Divinity. That's not the name of it. Divinity. I think it's called Divinity. Yeah, Divinity Origin of Sin. No, not that. That's not it. Oh my god, that's that fucking. That's not the game I'm talking about. Divinity is that like, it's the game that came before Baldur's Gate 3 by the same company, Larian Studios. No, it was like, why did I say Divinity? It wasn't Divinity. It was like this assassin game. It wasn't Assassin's Creed. But it was I had bought the PS4 because it was on sale at Target, because that's where I was working at. And it was a part of a bundle. So like, you bought the PS4 and you also got bundled with the game. Oh, I remember. Okay, I specifically had bought the PS4 with the Uncharted bundle. Uncharted 4 to be exact. But I sold that game off to my brother. He bought that off me for $60 so I could buy a different game that I had wanted to try. I still can't remember it. But it has like it has two parts. Man, this is gonna go bother the fuck out of me. I'm trying to look it up because, like, what was it? What game were you? You're gonna tell me what you were trying. What game were you? Apparently, I don't know how to type. I should not be allowed to be a type person. Dun, dun. What was it? Oh, good lord. This is gonna fucking make my brain hurt. Hey, hey, Pinky, what's up? Welcome in. Glad to have you, friend. Glad to see ya. Hello, hello. I think it was in 2020. It had to be. Good lord, this is fucking making my brain itch. What was that fucking game, dude? Um. Oh, okay. All right, all right, all right. Dishonored. That's the game. Dishonored. The reason why I was thinking Divinity or Definitive is because I had the Definitive Edition Dishonored. Ah, thank fucking God I figured out. Dishonored. Dishonored. That was the game. And I also had Dishonored 2. I think I had bought it. Did I have the Uncharted? Did I have the Uncharted bundle? Dishonored? No, I just bought Dishonored and it came with like the definitive edition and Dishonored 2. I played that game. Me and my brother played that game together. Um fuck, it's been ages since I played that game. I thought it was fun. It was really cool being an assassin. Even though the mechanics was hard for me to understand, I still have fun playing it. But eventually I moved on to like other games that was usually like free. Like I got into Dauntless because of the PS4, and I got into Let It Die because of the PS4. I was just looking at like a YouTube video about Let It Die and his fan base, and like oh, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to yawn. I'm tired. um. I was looking at a video about Let It Die. I used to be like super into Let It Die. I'm talking about watching people stream it, looking at YouTube videos, looking up tutorials, doing the whole shebang. I think I even had like the battle pass too, as well. But I was super into Let It Die. I thought it was a fun game. I enjoyed like the aesthetics of it. I liked how grungy and post-apocalyptic it was. But also I thought the weapon designs were really like fun and like cool. And like the one of the weapons are irons. Like the kind you use to iron your clothes out with. Like those type of irons. Like you use those as like punching weapons and burn people with the steam. And I thought that was really fucking cool. Like that's a really fun idea for a weapon. Another weapon in Let It Die was um a bowling ball, but at a bowling ball being wrapped at the edge of a stick and you like swung with it. I thought that was really cool. Or like one of the more ridiculous ones was like, taking the back end of a motorcycle with like the wheel and then attaching it to your arm to like big heavy ass gauntlets and you just roll the fucking gauntlet wheel at people and hit them. Like, Let It Die was something else. The um the mechanics of the game was kind of janky though. Like when I was looking at the YouTube video and just watching it casually, it had like a whole bunch of good points. Actually, maybe we could probably watch that together. I think I could watch YouTube videos and not get like fucking sniped by Twitch. That'll give us something to do since I don't really feel like playing any games today, and this is gonna be a relatively short stream. But now I'm also getting hungry. Like, my stomach just gave me the grumble, so I might actually go get some pasta, and then we can watch this Let It Die video together. I think that would be cool. Yeah, that sounds cool. So I'm gonna put on my AFK glasses real quick, and I'll be back in just a few moments. Just give me a few seconds to sit here and enjoy the music for a bit. Alright, BRB. Alright, I am back. Hello. I have my salad. Now I'm gonna look up this video so we can watch it together. um I'm trying to see which YouTube video it was. It's probably in my history though, which is easily to get. Okay, yeah, I found it. Okay. Um. Um. Okay. I'm trying to see if I need to exit it out anything. Because I want to make sure I have, like... If I put this window over here, put this window with this window. Yeah, okay, that works. Alright. Alright. Time to switch to just watch together. Alright. Now you get a mini. Yeah, you get a mini bubbly. Let's go ahead and pick the right Chrome. Browser. Okay. Alright, this should be good. And then I gotta unmute the browser sound.
Roguelike genre of gaming has always
that
been
is
rather
loud.
synonymous with requiring a high amount of skill to play. But what if a roguelike required The roguelike genre of gaming has always been rather synonymous with requiring a high amount of skill to play. But what if a roguelike required not hard-earned effort, but monotonous grind and pay-to-win microtransactions to succeed instead? There are roguelikes exploring different avenues of gameplay, like Dead Cells' Metroidvania Fusion, card game strategy in Slay the Spire, or an isometric perspective with a heavy focus on story like Hades. But what about a free-to-play,
I'm trying to make sure that it's loud enough
subscription-based
but not,
live
like,
service
too
roguelike
loud.
with PvP elements?
Let me know if you
As
think
it
it's
so
too loud.
happens, both of the latter ideas I just mentioned get checked off by a game known as Let It Die. This survival dungeon crawler roguelike-esque game offers something unlike anything I've seen. After beating the game with a final playtime of 46 hours, I believe I have enough credibility to go in depth about every mechanic this game has to offer, and I can safely say that a valiant attempt at monetizing a roguelike formula does not work and will probably never work, because it goes against every design philosophy in the genre. In this video, I'm going to explore the infuriating experience I had with Let It Die, and how this frankly, aesthetically creative game is outweighed by janky combat, a grind-infested progression system, and a blatant pay-to-win economy. This is my horrific journey through Let It Die.
It's definitely the aesthetic is really fucking cool.
Just make it to the top on the Tower of Barbs.
I used to have a huge crush on Uncle Death
kind of a thing.
when I was playing this game. I
Let
thought
It
he
Die
was so
is
silly.
developed by Grasshopper Manufacture, which is a Japanese game studio that also produced well-known titles like Killer 7, No More Heroes, and Lollipop Chainsaw. While I personally never played any of these games, I can certainly tell how its cel-shaded art style bled its way into Let It Die. This game first released in 2016 as a PS4 exclusive. If it hasn't been made clear, Let It Die is a free-to-play game with a freemium model of monetization. Though judging from its extremely subpar player count, it's no wonder they decided to release it on PC as well. Even now, there's only a dedicated fanbase of around 100 concurrent players, with its all-time peak sitting at a sub 2,000. To put into perspective how few people play this game today, even Dead Cells, an indie roguelike that released around the same time, still has around 2,000 concurrent players on average. When I get into the details of this game, you'll probably understand why the analytics are so abysmal. But before I go any further, I just want to remind everyone that 100% of the viewers that watch this video are subscribed to me. Thank you very much, you are too kind. The story is simple. After an apocalypse has consumed the world, a mysterious tower has appeared in metropolitan Tokyo. This is the Tower of Barbs. Legend has it that great treasure lies at the top, but no soul has made it that far. Will you be the one to reach the summit? You are joined by Uncle Death, a skeleton with sunglasses. He's pretty cool. With his help and your mishmash of team members, you set off by creating a class and character, and off you go to climb the tower. We start out in a dingy sewer area. The control and gameplay are simple. You have nothing but your fists. Salvage weapons and armor from your enemies, gather food and mushrooms to heal and buff yourself, and collect resources to make them into newer, better weapons once you return to the hub area. But not so fast. Every item will take up an inventory slot, and your inventory is very limited, so you better pick and choose what you want to take with you. You can hold up to 3 weapons in each of your hands. Toggle through them with the D-pad. Both your weapons and armor have durability, so you always gotta carry fresh ones to replace the old. You can throw or eat any consumables. You probably want to eat food and throw any grenades, but you can also throw food and eat the bombs, which will just damage you. I mean, what did you expect? There is also a dodge roll mechanic, which you could use to dodge enemy attacks. There's also stamina, which is signified with a beating heart within your character. It beats faster and faster as you perform attacks or rolls. So now your first impression might be, oh, so it's kinda like Dark Souls combat but in a roguelike and resource management setting?
Man, when I tell you that the inventory slots was so hard to maintain,
than Dark Souls.
especially on the higher floors,
I'll leave the
when I
complaining
was super
until
into
later.
this game,
The
I
main
definitely
game
put money
contains
into it.
40 floors
I think
of
the
the
whole
Tower of Barbs,
point of the
and
video is
select
the fact that
floors
you have to put
connect
money
to a
into
central
it
elevator.
to like
They
pay to
essentially
win.
serve as checkpoints
But
and can be used to return
never
to the hub
finished the game
area
because
to
eventually I
cash
did
in your
get bored of
progress.
it, which
This
makes
is where the
sense.
roguelike element comes in.
That a lot
The
of people
map
that do
layout
play,
is actually universal.
actually,
All
no,
the
no.
floors you explore.
I don't want to talk over the video while also like making my own little points here and there. But like the game was fun. Like I said, the aesthetics of it looks fucking rad. I like the story of it, like the background of it. I thought Uncle Death was hot. I was into him. The combat was kind of jank, right? But like the style, if I really like the style of a game, I'm gonna at least try to give it like a fair like playthrough. I played it until like level 30, I think. Like I was short a beat. I was almost there. I played up until I had to fight the level 30 or level 20 floor boss, but I stopped because I didn't have enough resources and I got scared. Cause like the game is punishing, right? The whole thing is that if the resources you have to collect with limited inventory slots, unless you pay to have more inventory slots. If your character fucking cahoots, you lose everything in that inventory. And the only way to get it back is you climb back up with another character to collect that character by either defeating them, or you could pay back a whole bunch of fucking in-game currency to get that character back along with the inventory. Which can get pretty fucking pricey depending on what floor level you died on and what level your character was. So that's one of the things he's talking about. Something in my face.
So far will still be there even if you die or return. But if you don't make it to a nearby elevator, you'll have to go back up again. Each floor is randomly generated, so each visit to the tower will be slightly different. I should mention that the layout is more or less the same, but the major structures of each floor have their locations switched around, and the map of each floor is wiped clean upon each visit, so you still have to go through the level all over again every time. If you die at any point, you'll be given the option to revive yourself to full health with a premium token that costs real money, or return to the main hub. You can buy back the character with a fee of kill points, which is the in-game currency, or go back to the floor you died on and kill your old character who has turned into an enemy to reclaim them, or just remove them from your roster entirely. More on this later. There's a healthy amount of weapons and armor. each with their own flair. You got machetes, hammers, clothing irons, revolvers, sniper rifles, katanas, and much more. Using a certain weapon type levels up your mastery level with that type, and will gain bonuses as you level up, like unlocking another attack move, more hits in its combo, or reducing the amount of stamina it requires to use. Your mastery levels actually carry over universally, so if you become really good with swords, every fighter you pick up in the future will also be very good with swords. Speaking of which, stamina is consumed whenever you sprint, attack, or roll. It replenishes quickly, but if you use too much, your character will stop to catch their breath, leaving you very vulnerable to attacks. So always manage it well. Attacking also fills up your rage meter. When you get enough, hold the action key and execute a powerful move with either weapon in your hands. If you stun an enemy, you can also execute them with a flashy finisher. These always look pretty epic.
Whenever you're at the main hub,
you'll first get to cash in your XP and upgrade your stats. Then bring any blueprints for new items you found in the tower to the shop. You'll be able to add that item to the shop permanently after fetching the required materials to craft it, and you can buy an infinite amount of that item with gold, albeit with a timer of how frequently you can purchase it. You can also upgrade an item by bringing in even more resources. Beside the shop is the decal dealer. Decals are passive abilities that can be applied to your fighter. The more powerful your fighter, the more decals you can stick onto them. Buying one will cost you a pretty penny though. You can hold different fighters at a time in your freezer. You can try out the other classes if you ever get bored of one, or unlock higher grade fighters when you reach certain floors. The all-rounder has balanced stats, the striker prioritizes strength and health, so it's good for melee setups. The defender and attacker are more of a PvP thing. The shooter is good at using ranged weapons. The collector has additional inventory slots. The skill master is completely useless. No, I will not elaborate on that. And the lucky star can find more gold and is more likely to land critical hits. You can use the classes to your advantage, like using the collector class to gather out resources from floors you've already been to, then switching to an offensive class when pushing higher floors. The gameplay loop goes something like this. Equip yourself with decent gear, ride the elevator to the highest checkpoint you've reached, and try to find a route to reach a higher point that contains the next elevator. The higher the floor, the better the loot, but also the deadlier the enemies. Certain floors contain a mini-boss, which in reality there's only 4 of. They just keep putting a tougher version of each within the 40 floors you climb with inflated stats. Gather better quality resources, better loot, more blueprints, and return to the hub when you think you need to refill on supplies or just want to store your hard-earned loot so you don't lose it if you die. Sounds pretty neat, right? It's a unique take on the roguelike genre. At least this was my first impression of the game as well, as my progress past the first 10 floors went rather smoothly. Of course, this is as far as I'm going to glorify this game.
Now here comes his criticism.
Let's start talking about the combat. The problem in gameplay starts rearing its head when you realize the combat in Let It Die is extremely clunky. In a game where you can hold an item in either hand, it should have been a playground for experimentation for creative playstyles. How about a fire-based weapon in your left hand, and a weapon that deals additional damage to enemies on fire in your right? Except the majority of weapons in the game have little to no synergy with one another. You finish attacking with one weapon, then your fighter has to wait until the attack animation is done before attacking once more. It feels like there's no flow in your attacks, and no room to experiment with different weapons. Since your weapons eventually break, I found the best strategy to dish out the most DPS is to just fill your slots with whatever strongest weapon you got, and just use that one weapon over and over again. In most 3D combat games, you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to mobility. Say you want to change direction or cancel out of an attack. You should be able to do that to make sure the player feels like they are in control. In Let It Die, this is not the case. When you attack, you cannot cancel out of the attack or move around until you finish the animation, which leaves you very susceptible to interruptions. Let's talk about the roll mechanic next. Remember when I said the dodge roll is used to, well, dodge enemy attacks? Yeah, except, despite what you think, the role doesn't actually give you iframes. In
Yeah, that was
Souls-like
one thing
combat,
I was
you find the
confused
perfect
about
balance
too.
of sneaking in your own
Because
hits
I
while
usually
skillfully
roll a
dodge
lot
rolling through
because I
enemy
always have to
attacks. Yet
dodge
in
because
this
I'm a
game,
baby
if
bitch.
you try to dodge through an
But
enemy's
the fact that if
chainsaw
you try
attack,
to
for
roll and
instance,
let it
your
die,
character just
you just get
awkwardly
attacked.
gets stun-locked
You
in
can't
place
iframe your way through
mid-roll
the
while
enemy.
you stand there helplessly, take damage until the attack is finished. That's right, if you're hit by an enemy, you're stun-locked. This can have catastrophic consequences when you get comboed by a group of enemies. A bad hit can cause enemies to permanently stun-lock your character and just instantly kill you with one chain of attacks, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Don't. No, 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 no.
I used to watch Grin a lot when I was
Oh,
super
get out
into
of there.
Let It
Get out
Die.
of there. Get out of there. Get out of there.
On every floor, there is a unique enemy known as a hater, something this channel does not have. Haters are enemies that were once a real
Man,
player that died on that floor,
was so
and now you
fucking
have to defeat
scary
them with the
in Let
gear
It
they
Die.
had on them when they died. Sometimes haters have such differing power levels from the enemies on that floor that they can completely catch you off guard. I'll also briefly mention the wonky enemy AI. Say
So he doesn't mention it, but jackals are like haters are AI of enemy characters, or like other people characters who died on their floor and they get reanimated as haters. They're usually a lot stronger than the normal like level NPCs that you fight on there because they usually are still decked out in the armor and the weaponry that that player died with, right? So like depending on what they was doing on their floor, right? They could just be like collecting like resources and they died or like some bullshit like that. But like they could be like heavily armed and heavily armored and be really hard to fight off. But the fucking jackals. So jackals in Let It Die are a superior AI NPC enemy that will spawn on your floor, but they only spawn on like the higher floors. They only spawn if you spend too much time on a particular floor. Yes, while there is no time limit for you to be on a floor and Let It Die, if you spend like too much time on that floor, the jackals will come spawn and come kill you. And that was one of the things that fucking scared me from the game because like I like to take my time to explore because like he said in the beginning in the beginning of the video, each floor and each map of the floor is randomized and always changing. You are never going to get the same floor or same map again. Sometimes you might, but like for the most part, it's randomized. So like you may get to this floor and you have like this map, or you get to another floor and you get a different map. So like each time you go up to a different floor, you have to what's the word? Explore, that's the word. You have to explore the map all over again, and by doing so, you have to actually explore the map to open up the pathway so you can see like a little mini map, right? Kind of how like in Final Fantasy, you don't see what the area looks like until you visit that area in game, and then it lights up on your whole map. That's how it is in Let It Die, and because it's always ever changing and always different, the pathways are always going to be different. So you have to explore everywhere just to find like the materials that you want. And with the decals in game, some decals light up materials for you to go find, or like with the lucky star, or like with the collector. So like you have to explore and open up the full map to be able to find the materials that you need. But if you spend too much time exploring, the jackals will spawn in and fucking kill you. And then they're super strong. They're stronger than the haters. And they have like superior futuristic weapons. Like they just come in and slaughter you. And then you have to go all the way back up to either find your old character to get your shit back, or buy them back in the hub. He doesn't mention it in his video, but that's something that I wanted to mention because like I'm surprised he didn't mention jackals. Unless they took that out of the game since I've been playing it, but like jackals are fucking scary, dude.
you get into a fight you can't finish, you're running low on health, or your weapon just broke. Naturally, your first response is to run away from enemies and get your bearings. You would expect that enemies would lose track of you eventually, except the enemy AI in this game is programmed to chase you down to the ends of the earth.
Yeah,
it does
yeah.
not matter how far you run,
You
they
cannot
will try
outrun
and
the
hunt
enemies
you
on
down.
the floor.
The
Your
pathfinding
only
and
saving
detection
grace
is also
is getting
pretty
to
out
an
of whack.
escalator or
If
an
you suddenly
elevator.
hear the combat music kick in, brace yourself, because it means that sometime, somewhere, an enemy will eventually, miraculously, pathfind its way to you. When fighting, the best strategy, as it turns out, is to not dodge, but simply run. By sprinting back and forth and baiting out an enemy attack, they're the ones that get locked into their attack animation. Then you just run up to their side and get in your own attacks. This is how you can safely dispatch every single enemy in the game.
I learned that
even
was just
bosses.
the best way to do
This
it.
single
You let them
strategy
attack
of
first,
baiting
and
out
when they're
attacks
stuck in their
works
animation,
so well, you
lock,
can beat
that's when
any
you
enemy
attack.
this way, even when underleveled. It goes without saying, this playstyle gets repetitive fast, since you really want to avoid taking damage and potentially getting stun locked. The reason to do this is that the game discourages players to get creative, as dying has extremely dire consequences. So next, I'll cover how dying works in this game, and it'll serve as the entryway to how Let It Die monetizes itself. When you die, you have the option to revive on the spot by expending a death medal. These are premium tokens that you mainly get from spending real money. A single death medal roughly estimates to around 50 cents. But since they seem to be running special deals all the time, I'll be generous and say that each death medal is only 10 cents a piece. Now you might be thinking, isn't this just blatant pay to win? Can't you just pay your way to victory no matter how many times you die? Well, here is where I'm gonna defend it a little bit. If you're getting one-shotted in a boss or a level, no amount of revives is really gonna do you any good. It's best to just throw in the towel and level up your gear, then come back later. You should really save this as a last resort if you're like one hit away from winning the fight. Though the time I played, there was an event where I got one free continue per day, so that's pretty cool. Your death medals should mainly be spent on upgrading your storage space, as it is a much better value. But let's say you actually died. What then? Well, first, let me take a detour and talk about the Express Pass, which is the game's subscription-based monetization system. For the low price of $15 a month, you have access to a plethora of advantages to make your climb a lot easier.
Yeah, I used
Let's
to pay
take a
for
look
this
at
too
what
when
they
I was
are.
playing
As I
Let It
mentioned
Die.
before, when you die, you can bring your fighter back to life by paying coins. You pay more the higher floor your fighter
Hey,
died
miss,
on.
what's
The
up?
fee
Thank you
gets
for
to
the
an
birthday
insane
wishes.
level
Thank
if
you,
you
thank
die
you,
on
thank you.
floor
Hello,
30 and
hello.
up, as the gold needed to
I'm
bring
not
them
playing
back
much
will
games
require
today. This is gonna be a
hours
short
to
stream.
accumulate
This
by
is just
grinding.
us hanging
But
out.
wait, if you have the
We're currently
Express
watching a
Pass,
Let It Die
you get a
video that I
discount
had
for the
watched the
buyback.
other day because
How
I was
much?
talking about
How
Let It
about
Die.
80% off. Did the buyback originally cost 250k gold? Well, now you can bring them back for just 50k. That gold that you saved can be used to stock up on resources and upgrades, which is a huge weight off your shoulders. But say I didn't want to pay. I did say that you can retrieve your fighter's body by defeating them on the same floor. Well, doing so is way less advantageous.
Hello,
Why?
Otto.
Well, by buying
T
back
Me
your
Man?
fighter with
T Me
coins,
Man?
you get
Hello,
to keep
welcome
all
in.
of their stats
I'm good,
and gear.
I'm good. How
Anything
are
they
you?
had on them
I
before
hope
they
you're
died
doing well
just comes
today.
right back,
Hello,
and you get
hello,
to play
welcome
as
in.
them without losing any progress. Retrieving
I
them
am
by
good.
defeating them, on the other
I am
hand,
good.
will
I'm
cause
tired,
all progress
but
they
good.
made during their last climb to be lost. Their entire inventory, gear, weapons, food, blueprints, gold, XP, even their decals, all wiped from existence. If you spend an hour trying to climb to the next elevator, found all sorts of goodies, and gained enough XP to level up 10 times, you just lost that entire hour worth of progress. This is something roguelike games want to avoid at all costs, making the player feel they just spent hours playing the game and got nothing out of it. Hades
I'm
allows players
watching-
to expand the
Let
lore
me
and
pause
get
real
up.
quick. I am watching a little video essay analyzing Let It Die, which is that PS4 wants exclusive free-to-play game that the PS4 had. I was talking about it earlier when I was talking about my little journey into getting into video games, and how when I first bought my PS4 console, Let It Die was one of the games that I bought because it was free to play, and I really like the post-apocalyptic kind of grungy style that it has. But the game is not popular these days, not anymore. It barely has a lot of people streaming it, and the fan base is very, very, very small for a game like this. But I have watched this video, the one that we're watching now, and I wanted to share it with you guys because like I thought it was a very cool video, and it really put into perspective about like the constructions of video games and how successful they can be. Since I don't really feel like playing a video game today, and this is going to be a very short stream because I'm still extremely tired. So there's that. But like it's just a little something that we're watching together. It makes me miss Let It Die, but it doesn't make me miss it enough to re-download it because now it's on PC, and I probably have my PC is probably able to handle it. It's on PC now, but I don't see myself playing it anytime soon. So this is just for the sake of watching it, for like nostalgia's sake, I guess.
Upgrades upon each death, so even if you lose, you have something to look forward to. Dead cells allows you to keep a portion of your gold and cells when dying, so you can still make some progress towards unlockables. Slay the Spire and Binding of Isaac both give you unlocks for certain milestones, so your next runs will still feel fresh. Let It Die, on the other hand, holds your progress hostage until you pay up with gold or buy the Express Pass. This is extremely scummy, as buying back your fighters with gold is the only way to ensure your progress. And given the game's clunky gameplay, dying rarely feels like it's the fault of the player. So what are some of the Express Pass's other advantages? Normally, riding an elevator will cost you a small fee, and every time you go to one, you'll have to be reminded by the gold-plated, velvet-cushioned express elevator beside it, and how you have to pay a subscription to ride it. See that really cool feature? Yeah, you can use it. The express elevator does not require a fee, so you can use it as much as you please. If you use the normal one, the fee is not
I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Plus, you'll have to ride the elevator twice every time you enter and leave the tower. With the Express Pass, you also get a random premium decal every day. These are powerful passive abilities that you can stick onto your fighters. But remember, if you don't retrieve your dead fighters using gold, you will also lose any decals they had on them. Unlike gear from the shop, decals are one-time use. One decal can be applied at a time, and any additional ones will have to be bought again. As for the PvP aspect, other players can raid your base and take your gold and splithium, which is another upgrade currency. However, with the Express Pass, anything that gets stolen from you gets reversed, so you'll never have to worry about losing currency. Last but not least, and possibly the worst offender of a pay-to-win mechanic, is the permanent extra 10 inventory slots for every fighter. Your inventory in Let It Die is precious real estate. By default, you only have 20.
Oh yeah,
that means anything you find while climbing will have to be considered whether or not it's important enough to take with you. I enjoyed it when I did play it, but I did stop playing it because blueprints, consumables need a slot each. You run out of space really fast. Now, the developers have gone and said that players don't need it to pay to enjoy the game, and that the paid content are only...
I don't want to talk over the video so we can sit there and listen, but like, when I played the game, I liked it because I do like games where I can sit there for hours at a time and grind. Because like I usually would zero in on the game, right? If it requires me to grind for materials and stuff to get better armor and better weapons and stuff, I like those kind of games because I could just zero in and lose like some hours of the day playing the game. And like I mentioned before, the style of it is really fucking cool. It really appeals to me. I like, as much as I look like I am definitely a pastel, poppy, girly type of girl. Like, I love bright colors. I love saturation colors. I like pretty, soft, cute things. But, like, the grungy aesthetic really, the grungy, dirty aesthetic really gets to me, too. Like, Let It Die has such a cool aesthetic to it. And the weapon systems and the type of weapons you can make in the game are also really fun and really creative. Like I mentioned, you could use a clothing iron as a weapon, or you could use a nail gun as a weapon, or you can have a bowling ball tied at the end of a fucking stick as a weapon. But of course you have like your katanas and your machetes and your fucking sniper rifles or your machine guns. And then you have like rapiers. You could use like fire wands too as well. Like, it's such. I know, and don't even get me started on the motorcycle arms. Like, it's literally like the back end of a motorcycle with the wheel, and you swing it like a pair of gauntlets, and you could kill somebody with that. Like, a bowler ball on the end of the stick is fucking wild. It's really fucking fun though. Like, the creativity behind the game is what really drew me in, especially with the style of it. The game is also really fun to play. Cause like I said, I like grinding games and I like fighting enemies and exploring stuff. But as I got to higher and higher floors, it got more difficult to grind out for the materials I needed to upgrade my weaponry and my armor. And that's when I just slowly stopped playing the game. Cause I don't want to say I quit because it got too hard, but like I got the reward, the risk of losing all that progress fucking gave me super bad anxiety. Cause like, as he mentioned in the game, dying and let it die is devastating. Devastating. If you let a character die, you lose all the EXP progress. You lose all the coins in the blood bank that you gain on that character is gone. All the equipment and all the materials that character managed to gather, gone. All those expensive ass decals that you bought to put on the character to up their stats, gone. And the only way to get them back is paying some exuberant ass in-game currency price, or buying one of their premium death tokens to bring that character back. Oh, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Bubble Buddies. Thank you. But yeah, the consequences of dying and let it die were like too great for me, and it stressed me out, so I stopped playing. That's why I stopped playing Let It Die. Because as you get higher on the floors, it get more difficult, which makes sense because you're getting higher on the floors. But like, the higher you are, the more risk you take. Because the enemies get ridiculously hard and ridiculously tough. Like, I used to watch people stream and play this game. Like, Grin was one of the people that I started to watch because they did a lot of Let It Die content. But like, it gets dangerously, like, unforgivable at the higher levels. And plus, I kept getting raided. Like, the PvP aspect is that people come to your base if you have to set up fighters to fight them so they don't steal from you, right? And then you can go invade other people's places, fight their fighters, and then steal from them. And I kept getting raided, and they kept taking all my fucking resources. It was a mess. An absolute fucking mess. But it's on PC now. It used to be a PS4 exclusive, but you can get it on PC because their fan base is small. Their fan base is very small. So, like, if you want to give it a try, I say go for it. I haven't seen what it looks like in these years. It's been ages since I played Let It Die. So, it's probably a whole bunch of different, like, quality of life upgrades and a whole bunch of updates that happened since then. So, I have no idea what's the climate of the game it is today. I might poke at it and check it out because it's on PC. Because I don't feel like hooking up my PS4. But now that it's on PC, I might check it out and see, like, what's going on with it. Just for, like, nostalgia's sake. Just for nostalgia's sake.
Only conveniences that the player has the free choice to pay for. I disagree with this sentiment. No player will choose to be inconvenienced. If I was the developer and I said to the player, hey, would you like 30 inventory slots or would you like 40? Why on earth would you ever choose 30 when 40 slots is just a direct upgrade? Why would anyone want to purposefully inconvenience themselves with a smaller bag? How is it player choice if you're taking away all the options and leaving them with one? If you buy the Express Pass, you will, beyond a shadow of doubt, gain many gameplay advantages over non-payers. It's a classic case of create a problem, sell the solution.
Yeah.
To defend that Let It Die is not pay to win is that you can simply just play more. Sure, you get less space to carry, get raided of your resources, get less powerful decals, pay more for fighter buybacks, but you can just make up everything with your time. You just have to play more, but you can achieve everything as a free-to-play. So this is where the line gets a little blurred. I define the phrase pay to win as being able to reach the win condition of whatever game you're playing faster if you pay real money. In this case, reaching floor 40 of the tower or anything beyond that. Sure, you can't directly buy upgrades or gear that can give you an advantage. However, everything I just listed, all the advantages that the Express Pass brings will allow you to carry more resources with you every run, pick up more materials to bring back, and be more lenient with your moment-to-moment gameplay, ultimately allowing you to indirectly reach the win condition faster. A great video by Josh Drive Hayes outlined the properties of a pay-to-win system and how it blurs the line to make it less apparent.
You're still giving yourself the ability to access the win state faster. Instead of directly buying the sword, you're directly buying an advantage to go and get the sword. There's an extra step involved, but ultimately spending money still means you are getting to the win condition faster.
All in all, my argument is that the game is pay to win. But here's where I'm gonna defend it a little bit. It's not that bad, as even paying can't circumvent the amount of grind you have to do. I have no problems with game companies trying to make back the cost of creating a free-to-play game. If the game sold skins, I would have no complaints. I do have a problem if they gatekeep basic quality of life improvements and straight-up upgrades behind a paywall. This game was designed with a free-to-play scheme, microtransaction-based model from the ground up. Every bit of game mechanic reflects this. The gameplay is clunky, and the upgrade system is stingy, and it is precisely so to make you frustrated and nudge you to eventually say, "Here's my money, now give me progress." The devs did not state a clear reason why they made the game free-to-play, but I have a really sounding theory why they did so.
Money.
A lot of obscure MMOs or live service games manage to stay afloat because a small percentage of whales will keep throwing money at them because finding even one whale is extremely profitable. Now, everything I just mentioned, the stingy inventory space, the clunky controls, the samey combat, a question you might ask is there an actual way to beat the game without paying or causing a hemorrhage? Yes, there actually is. A phrase I hear again and again in the community when I looked up guides is the idea of a gear check. It's best explained if I just explain my journey up the Tower of Barbs. Just like any freemium game, it starts out rather innocently enough. You scrounge up whatever you can find and climb to floor 10 at a good pace. Given the low amount of unique structures, I often found myself seeing the exact same room layouts over and over again. The structure on floor 3 appeared again on floor 4, and I was confused if I was still on the same floor. This game clearly values quantity over quality. Anyways, I make it to floor 10 with my mishmash of scavenged weapons and armor and face the first major challenge. Every 10 floors occupies a boss known as a Don, one of the guardians that prevent you from advancing further. Remember what I said about a gear check? Yeah, I realized this idea a little too late. At the time, 4 hours into the game, I haven't been punished too much. I was able to make do with whatever the game gave me. So I enter the level, and our opponent is Max Sharp. We go through a level on a train track. By landing on platforms, jumping across tracks, we slowly make our way to the front of the train. And I'll admit, this level design is pretty creative, better than the previous levels
so
at
fucking
least.
fun
If
when I
only all
played
the
it.
floors were like this. So as I reach the front, we are dropped into a boss arena. This boss may seem unique at first, but Max is actually just a reskin of a mini-boss I already fought, who just has some new moves up his sleeve. This fight was my rude awakening of what's to come, and what used to be scratches of my health from normal enemies, Max would shave off a good third of it every hit, sometimes comboing me into the electric fence. At this point, I still thought I could dodge roll the boss's attacks Dark Souls style, except this was when I realized the roll does not give iframes. This will be the second time I say it, but this game is not a Souls-like. After expending a death medal since I was so close, I was able to best Max. I'm congratulated by my crew, and floors 11 to 20 are unlocked. A quick look at the achievements. Let's see how many players beat floor 10. And it's 12%. Only 12% of players who have the game in their library ever made it this far. Well then, continuing onwards.
Well,
Now,
that
instead of a
is
sewer
Steam,
area,
though.
floors
He's doing
11
it
to
off the
20
Steam numbers, not the
features
PS4
theme of an
numbers.
abandoned city,
So, like, I don't know
which is a
how,
nice
like,
change from the claustrophobic
supportive
underground.
that is.
This is the stage of the game where some degree of grind will be required to progress up the floors. Specifically, there are multiple floors that will contain mini-bosses. The higher the floor, the more tankier they will become. My first barrier was the Jin Dai boss on floor 16, where an underleveled fighter can get one-shotted by this unfair laser beam attack. So
Ugh, it's so
immediately I got
gross.
to work. I searched up what weapons are good, what gears are good, and what's the best strategy. The community seemed to agree that the clothing iron is the best weapon to level to clear the main game with. So I farmed up the materials to level up the iron as much as the game lets me at this point, and got on to the boss. Remember, I'm doing this to prevent dying, because the punishment is just too high. This game doesn't seem to like it if you play it blind and rewards you for following a guide to its last step. This is the best way you can find success on your climb. There is a lot of jank in the game, but you can learn to play around it, which is exactly what I did. So I make it to the floor 16 boss. Let's see how well I do.
Look at that. One shot. One
Now
shot.
that's what I call skill. This is also the point of the game where you unlock a new tier of fighters, whom of which have higher level caps and stats than the tier below. So it's highly recommended to get new fighters when it becomes available. So far, the grind has begun to set in, but it hasn't been that bad. So let's continue. The Dawn on floor 20 is Colonel Jackson. We start the boss fight by disarming 3 bombs with a time limit. Enemies are fairly manageable. Then the main fight starts, except the boss is really just a slightly buffed version of Jindai, the exact boss that I just fought 4 floors ago. Again, the level design is fine, and the fight itself was pretty enjoyable. So let's see how many players made it this far. 6.8%. Wow. So we're halfway there. Floors 21 to 30 have the theme of an amusement park, which has
This
some
one
pretty
was
good-looking
really
set
fun.
pieces.
I like
The
this
layouts
floor.
look fresh
The
and new
amusement
after
park was really
traversing
cool.
through a sewer and the city. But of course, since there's only a handful of structures for the levels to choose to generate from, if you've seen floor 21, you've seen the next 9 floors too. At the same time, floor 20 plus is the moment in my journey where the grind really started to set in.
Yeah, I think I
To put
stopped
it
at
simply,
this.
the grind
This is
in
the
Let
floors
It
I
Die
stopped at,
is
so it was over
downright
the level
abysmal,
20 floors.
worse than any game I've ever seen. When the word grind comes to mind in gaming, it's usually the monotonous activities that often get optimized. So you spend as little time doing the boring stuff so you can actually get to the good stuff faster. Of course, it helps tremendously if players know how much time they need to put in order to reach a certain result. So you know where the endpoint will be and have more confidence in tackling that goal. Let It Die, however, does not do that. Upgrades for your gear will require certain materials, but the drop rates for them are not guaranteed. Say I wanted Wire Mountain for one of my upgrades. Well, I'll need to go to a floor that contains it to collect it.
Yeah, you had to go to certain floors to get certain materials. And you had to go on certain days when it was supposed to spawn.
Or I can go to a floor that spawns Iron type materials, except the Wire Mountain is a 2-star material and irons of other qualities can also spawn. This means it's completely possible to spend time farming for a certain material only for RNG to screw you over and return empty-handed. If you thought this was bad, you haven't seen the worst of it. Most upgrades later on also require a certain material that can be obtained from killing mini-bosses. You can also get them dropped from elite enemies and certain areas, but the drops are random. The only way to guarantee a specific boss material is to actually go and farm that boss. Except, they are also not guaranteed to drop it. Let's say I wanted the DoD Black Metal. Well, the wiki says it drops from the Cohen mini-boss on floor 26, except the floor that contains the boss isn't connected to the main elevator, so I have to clear and find the entryway to that floor first. Remember, the map and the floors are randomized each time, so I have to slog through the same enemies, the same level structures, using the same run and bait strategy to reach the boss. I defeat it and just think that I could have spent the last 15 minutes waiting for this moment so I can inch ever closer to my next weapon upgrade. And there was a chance that the boss just dropped a random weapon or some gold instead. Now I have to spend another 10 minutes or so making my way back to the elevator. Unfortunately for me, whenever you leave a floor and then come back later, the enemies will respawn. So as I try to run past everything, I make it back to the elevator, and finally I'm one step closer to a single upgrade of a single piece of gear. It's clear from the randomness of drops that the game does not seem to value your time. If there was a job out there where you had a 50-50 chance to get double your wage every paycheck or get nothing at all, no one will work at that place. Grinding in this game is mind-numbing and incredibly frustrating when luck isn't in your favor. However, there's actually one more method that can guarantee rare materials with no RNG. On certain days of the week, on floor 27, there is a traveling merchant that sells high-end materials for gold. The Tower of Barbs follows certain rotations for each day of the week.
Oh yeah,
and
you
some
always want to
floors
get
and
off there
routes
and try to
only
get to
appear
that material
on certain
dealer
days, which
and then
I
go
thought was
right
pretty
back
cool.
down
At
before
the
getting
merchant,
fucked
you
up.
can buy one of each item at a time, and you must wait 1 hour before the shop refreshes. This method allowed me to obtain materials that would only drop on floors 30 and up. The only drawback is that it's really expensive. An easy way to farm gold, as suggested by the community, is to just partake in the PvP content known as the Tokyo Death Metro, where you raid the base of another player for their resources. You generally want to target players that no longer play the game so they don't feel frustrated. But even with this method, you still need a high enough rank in the TDM to accumulate gold quickly. And given that there's only one possible level layout, each raid feels exactly the same, and it gets samey real quick. But hey, at least there's no RNG involved. So after all that, I was able to upgrade my iron to the extreme and take on the floor 30 boss, Mr. Crowley. He proved to be pretty easy to beat. Since I was already pretty overleveled at this point, there's nothing much to really talk about here. Finally, we're out of the carnival area and move onwards to an area that seems to be the rooftops of a city. Again, I like the aesthetics here. However, floor 31 is where things go from bad to worse, and if you thought the grind I just described wasn't brutal enough, it only picks up from here. By this point, I've seen a good chunk of the game to know how every mechanic works and what I needed to do to reach my goal. So while I farm materials, let me talk about a certain topic I see that crops up every now and then regarding this game. I've seen people comparing this game to Dark Souls, and I think that couldn't be further from the truth. To really examine this idea, we need to take a look at Let It Die's progression system. In gaming, primarily multiplayer and MMOs, there is the idea of a horizontal progression system and a vertical progression system. Vertical progression comes whenever new gear or strategies are just strictly and objectively better than what you have right now. So you always have to chase after better gear to progress with the game.
But
A
you don't
classic
have
example of this
iframes,
is
so like it's
World
not
of
really Dark
Warcraft,
Souls. It's
where the game introduces new equipment that's just strictly better than the previous, so all players will always have a goal to work towards. Horizontal progression is where the new gear you earn are not necessarily better, but just open up more options for you to use. Maybe some gear is better in some scenarios than others, and you'll have to use your knowledge of the game to know when to use what. In a game like Elden Ring, you'll pick up new weapons all the time, but equipment that drop from the end game aren't necessarily stronger than the ones from early game. They just provide more options for you to play with. In other words, vertical progression is more stat-based, while horizontal is more skill-based. And before anyone asks, there are advantages and disadvantages from both approaches. In most roguelikes, you'll often encounter a mixture of both types of progression systems. Games like Dead Cells or Hades do have stat upgrades like health potions and more revives, but your skill and knowledge of the game is also essential to winning. The closest to a purely skill-based game would have to be rhythm games. There's no upgrades or perks that can get you an advantage. Every level is the exact same every time you play it, so no outcome can be determined by luck. If you improve at a rhythm game, you really did just get better as a player. This is as skill-based as it gets. In Let It Die, however, your gear and weapons are the main reasons you succeed. It has a stat-based progression system. You can't upgrade your defense in Dark Souls since armor only have cosmetic purposes, and your ability to read enemy attacks and dodge at the correct timings is what defines your skill as a player. Let It Die, on the other hand, does not have a functional dodge roll, and there's no flow in combat. See, the gameplay feels very janky, but you can play around it by having overpowered gear. By having a high enough defense stat, you can tank multiple unfair hits. You can afford to make more mistakes. The point I'm trying to get across is that Let It Die is not a skill-based game. Calling this game a Souls-like is a disgrace to the Souls-like genre. I have no problems with people enjoying it for what it is. I just want to dispel the false belief that this game is somehow comparable to Dark Souls. It's not. Now, given that the difficulty picks up from here, let's talk about what you should do whenever you get gated by a boss. If you can't defeat a certain boss, any future floors are locked, so you have to defeat them in order to proceed with the game. Some floors have gear checks so extreme they are a completely different ballpark from the normal enemies you just fought. In some cases, if you're not properly geared, the boss can feel like a slug to go through given their inflated health and attack values. Not to mention considering the game's clunky combat and the dire consequences of dying. So how should you approach them? Well, first of all, the game softly nudges you that you should probably farm up the best possible gear that you can find, as doing so will give you a much better fighting chance. Next, something the community would recommend is to farm up some mushrooms.
The
some
mushrooms
of the
are really
fungi
fucking good in the game.
Really powerful effects, like a mushroom that automatically revives you to 50% HP if you take fatal damage, or one that turns you invisible for 15 seconds, or one that stops time, or a late game one that literally turns you invulnerable to all sources of damage. Something you can do is to abuse the hell out of these effects. The one that stops time essentially stops all bosses in their tracks, while you dish out whatever damage you can within its effect. Search up any boss fight for these floors, and you just see people doing this exact strategy. This is obviously a very cheap and brain-dead way to get past the bosses. Some people would defend this by saying how the game already cheats you with its unfair mechanics, so you should cheat back using this underhanded method. But my argument is that boss fights in video games are supposed to pose some degree of challenge, where you learn their attacks and weak points and eventually overcome them when you get better at the game. Where is the challenge if you literally just make yourself invincible and be unable to take any damage at all while you take pot shots at the boss with no strategy or consequences? For me, this is not fulfilling or fun, yet I'm forced to do this to make safe and steady progress, and I'm not the only one that's felt this frustration. To really illustrate how important it is to keep your equipment to the best quality you can, here's my experience fighting a new mini-boss on floor 32.
What in the goddamn?
So I enter the arena, and as you can see, yeah, a single hit wiped out 100% of my health. Now I did manage to down this mini-boss, but even then, I researched beforehand how to deal with this and still had a rough time with it. Now, you could just retort by saying, get good. Don't rely on cheap strategies. Don't use overpowered gear. Fight the bosses fair and square, and if you die, just try again. On paper, this idea is fine, and I would have definitely preferred to do it this way. Except in this game, you really don't want to die. Dying will set you back somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour trying to buy back your fighter by grinding coins or equip yourself in a fresh set of gear. It will set you back that much time just so you can have another attempt at the boss. The safest and optimal strategy is to get past the levels using whatever gear or weapons that give you the best chance of survival and get through them by any means necessary. And most importantly, avoid dying at all costs. This game does not reward you for experimenting with different strategies that you might think of, which directly contradicts what a roguelike should be. My experience with floors 31 to 40 was probably the roughest out of all the previous floors. Dying on these levels will net you a huge gold loss to recover your fighter. Without the literal best of the best gear at this point will get you annihilated in just a couple of hits. it. The only problem is that you have to farm the materials that spawn at these floors, so even a farming run may not be as simple as you think. This is also the stage of the game where your item upgrades cost ludicrous amounts of resources. You can farm them for an entire day,
kept getting
and
bigger
be enough
and
to
bigger,
upgrade
and the
one
materials
item to a
needed for certain
comfortable amount.
items just
After
got
a
way
lot
too
of
much.
planning and finessing,
I stopped at
finally
the
managed to go
amusement
through
park
to floor
levels.
40, aka the
And
final
fuck that
boss fight
quality
of the
boss
main
and
game.
then just
The final
didn't fight
boss is
anymore.
Taro Gunkanyama. He's a sumo wrestler. We start the fight by having our gear completely stripped away, then fight some haters on a platform. Getting knocked off means instant death. Once you reclaim your weapons, the main event starts. And let me tell you, this was actually the best fight I've seen in the game.
If I
First of
remember,
all,
the music was
soundtrack
really
goes
good in this
hard.
game,
I was
too.
actually tearing up because of how hyped the track was. Here, take a listen. In this fight, Taro jumps, dashes,
Man, that music
swings,
goes
and
fucking
rolls
hard.
around you, while there are actual attack windows that you can punish, and ways to actually dodge them. Yes, the jank is still there. You can still get unfairly chained into an instant death. Yes, it's still a gear check, as having the best gear makes this fight a lot easier, but I think this fight is a prime example of what the game could have been. The OST sounds like something straight out of a Yakuza game, and the fight itself is dripping with interesting flavor. This has got to be, dare I say, one of the most creative, engaging video game boss fights I've seen in a while. Now, I won't spoil the ending, obviously, and it's not like the story was that good anyways. But yeah, after you beat Taro, that's it. That's Let It Die. To transition into the next topic, as I was already praising this boss fight, I wanted to highlight some of my favorite moments during my time with this game. Despite all its rough edges, I don't think it's fair to say that the game is all bad. There are clearly some unique aspects and feel-good moments I haven't felt in a while. For example, I fondly remember my sigh of relief when I saw the golden glow of an elevator as I was just about to run out of resources on the higher floors. The odd and eccentric style the game takes, especially with the lore in boss fights, and how a pamphlet has comics for the boss's origins. It's also got a highly addictive soundtrack, as the composer licensed hundreds of songs from artists and asked them all to name their songs Let It Die. This is genuinely really
The
cool.
fucking soundtrack to Let
creativity
It Die
is
is
something I
fucking
don't
killer.
see very
It's
often in
boss as
gaming.
hell.
It's a shame that radio doesn't play more often during gameplay. My favorite track from the OST has got to be Let It Die. This game, in my opinion, does have a pay-to-win model, but it's not that bad. The main concern is the grind, which is not something that can be easily skipped. Looking at the reception surrounding this game, the reviews across the board have always just been okay. It's sitting at a 7 out of 10 on Metacritic, and mostly positive on Steam. It's clear that a small, dedicated fanbase still enjoys this game, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let It Die is a deeply flawed game with silver linings. At certain points, I wanted to give up. I didn't see the point of committing so much of my time and energy into a game that doesn't seem to value them. Why would I spend 30 minutes in an hour grinding for materials that might not even spawn when I can just hop on a game with the boys in Deep Rock Galactic? To people that defend this game, 88% of players who have the game in their library never made it past the first major boss fight. Why do you think this is the case? Even Warframe has an achievement where you play for 2 hours, and 40% of players have that achievement. Let It Die has many problems, but at the end of the day, I honestly think this game was onto something. The boss fights all have their distinctive style. The idea of an ever-changing tower can spell an exciting new journey for players every run. Let it be known that I am not against the idea of a live service roguelike. Imagine a roguelike with a monetization model like Deep Rock Galactic. One-time fee, no microtransactions. You try to make it to the exit of a sprawling labyrinth that changes every day, with different biomes and themes, with different bosses and unlockable upgrades and cosmetics. You can chat with other players in a hub area, where you'll share your cool-looking skins and encourage one another to go on another run. Each season will have different events that can occur randomly during runs, like a bonus level or boss that is optional, and a free battle pass, just like Deep Rock Galactic, that unlocks limited cosmetic items, and maybe some paid DLCs for skins and new areas here and there. A skill-based roguelike with no pay-to-win mechanics, no leaderboards, no PvP. Not a money-hungry freemium model of monetization, but just a game that values your time and wants you to have some fun. The game I just described honestly sounds like a game I would play for ages, and one that will probably never exist. Just like Deep Rock Galactic. Honestly, you should play this game right now. To close off this video, I want to share something interesting I heard at a conference by a mobile game studio CEO on how to find whales for your game. Here's what he had to say.
Make sure that your games aren't too skill-based. I made that mistake myself. A too skill-based game, you don't get people to pay you because there's no reason to.
That's right. Skill-based games make less money. It really puts into perspective where the gaming industry is taking us. This last section will be my thoughts about the direction of the idea of games as a service, or GAAS. It's the idea that just like many online softwares, paying for them will require a subscription instead of a one-time fee. Whether you like it or not, this is the direction gaming will go in the future. The top games played right now are all live services. I've seen many examples of these companies screw over consumers with questionable decisions, but at the end of the day, no matter how much criticism the industry is taking us. This last section will be my thoughts about the direction of the idea of games as a service, or GAAS. It's the idea that just like many online softwares, paying for them will require a subscription instead of a one-time fee. Whether you like it or not, this is the direction gaming will go in the future.
So these are the top games by current players. I don't know what the time frame of this is. But Counter-Strike, Dota, Call of Duty, yeah. Apex, Lost Ark. Wallpaper Engine, that's so funny. Wallpaper Engine is on there as a game. I used to play Lost Ark. I thought it was great. I like the aesthetics of it. It was my first time playing one of those JRPGs. I think it's called a JRPG. I could be wrong. I'm so sorry if I'm wrong. I'm so sorry. I was really into Lost Ark, but like because I took too many breaks playing it. And because I wasn't constantly on the game grinding and playing it, I got left behind by the community. I don't know if it's because of the server that I was on or what, but because the server that I was on and the fact that I was still on the low levels of stuff, queuing for like dungeons and boss raids to play with other players was just abysmal. I couldn't get anyone to join because everybody has already progressed further enough than me, so I just stopped playing the game. And I didn't have friends that wanted to play Lost Ark with me, so. But I like the game. I like playing Lost Ark.
Top games played right now are all live services. I've seen many examples of these companies screw over consumers with questionable decisions, but at the end of the day, no matter how much criticism you throw at them, it ultimately boils down to one decision you can make. Do you play the game or do you not play the game? And if your answer is play, then they can do whatever they want. Overwatch 2, getting all the flack from its problems with the Battle Pass, yet it exceeds the success of the first game, amassing over a daily player count of over 900,000 players.
Some of my other friends are trying to get me to play Overwatch.
Despite having glaring issues with its performance,
I don't want to play the game. I'm not really good at first-person shooters.
Sold over 10 million copies, becoming the best-selling Nintendo game of all time. Diablo Immortal, heavily scrutinized for its monetization, has grossed over $90 million. and is within the top 10 highest grossing mobile games right now. It is absolutely okay to critique something you like, but just know that for big companies like these, data is everything. If I was Game Freak developing Pokemon, and I put minimum effort into developing my game, shipped it while having blatant performance issues and glitches, yet my consumers are eating that up, defending me, and buying my games like hotcakes, why would I put any more effort into my games? We can complain about freemium games all we want, but at the end of the day, no matter how much complaint these companies get, it works, and it'll keep working. The one message I have is to speak out against the things you don't like with actions, not words. One last thing. The publisher for Let It Die actually released an indirect sequel to the game. It's a battle royale that released this October named Deathverse Let It Die. I wonder how it's doing.
Well, it's a little embarrassing.
Okay, alright, so that was the video. So we could just switch on over to just chatting. Back to good old hanging out. Yeah, I wanted to watch that video with you guys just because like I was talking about Let It Die. And I thought it was just like a fun little video. This was mostly just a catch-up stream. Just us playing catch-up and hanging out for like a little bit since I haven't streamed in a while because of Dawn Trail. But it's been really nice getting to hang out with you guys just for a little bit. And I appreciate all the happy birthday wishes. Thank you so very much. You guys are the absolute sweetest. My Bubba buddies are the greatest buddies in the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, I think I'm gonna head out for today. It was nice playing catch up though. I don't know if I may try to stream tomorrow and play a game, maybe Genshin, cause like I'm almost done with MSQ for Dawn Trail, and I want to try to see if I can grind up some Primo gems because I want to get Siege Win and Genshin Impact. I don't think I'm gonna get her, but I really want her because she's Bubble Buddy coded. Like she's so me. Like her gameplay reminds me of me, and I want her on my Genshin team. But that's about it for me today, Bubble Buddies. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening and or day, and I will catch you on the flip side. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Bye, 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 bye. Oh, I should probably do this. Hold on. Goodbye. See you later. Bye, 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 bye.